اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق وهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما. الحمد لله رب العالمين. أفضل الصلاة وتم تسليما على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ورضي الله تعالى عن آل السادة تابعين علماء عاملين مع أئمة أربعين مجتهدين مقلديهم إلا يوم الدين. أما بعد. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. The topic of this talk is about the Minhaj of the Shehu Uthman bin Fodio Taqaddamullah bi Rahmati Ameen and his valid scholarship. The Shehu Uthman bin Fodio Taqaddamullah bi Rahmati Ameen. He was a scholar in the sub-Saharan Africa, Hausa land. You know what I'm saying? His upbringing, he was raised to be a caller to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In the earlier part of his tajdeed, he was a reviver of the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was a mujaddid. He was one of the authorities in the Maliki method, an authority in the Maliki method in sub-Saharan Africa, right? In Hausa land. His Khilafat lasted for 100 years. It fell in 1903, right? By this particular time, starting in 1871, all the way to, not started in 1771, all the way to 1903. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. All right, so, and by this particular time, within this particular time period of this 100 years, roughly 100 years, the Sokoto Caliphate was from the further west borders of Hausa land all the way to Sudan. Okay, now, in his revival and reviving the Sunnah and approaching his people, you have to understand the methodology in regards to what is prevalent and what is needed amongst the people. And this is what the Shehu had brought in his revival of the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam among the people of Hausa land, and all the sciences related to the Deen, related to the Fara'ain, and the higher sciences that's dealing with government, dealing with politics, and dealing with other matters in the Deen that this total way of life expresses. Now, his works compiled of hundreds. His brother's works, Abdullahi Dan Fodio, Taqaddamullah bi Rahmati Ameen, compiles of hundreds of works. His son, Muhammad Bello, is compiled of hundreds of works dealing with all different perspective sciences that we deal with in everyday life in regards to Khilafah, in regards to politics, in regards to business, medicine, math, and everything else, right? That we need in society. The books of the Shehu in regards to fiqh is Maliki fiqh, and to understand where a lot of his books that's addressed in the Fara'ain and higher sciences and Maliki fiqh, you have to know what the Mu'tamid books are to be able to know what the Shehu took from in the Mu'tamid books to compile his works. Hundreds of works that guided people, and Allah Ta'ala put barakah in his works, to the fact that we're using them and utilizing them in our day and time, and people are memorizing these works and spreading these works. However, in totality, his works in regards to fiqh and creed and tasawwuf is not all Maliki fiqh, right? It's not all Maliki fiqh, but dealing with the subjects and the rulings that's related to things that are prevalent in the land. That's one of the usuls of the Maliki school, the Amala Ahlu Medina, is that you deal with what is going on in that time, what you have to deal with at that moment, not something that is later in the future or something that you're not dealing with at all. That is prevalent to what is going on in your society. Now, to say that that's his works is not Maliki fiqh, but then validate, and then but on the flip side, before that, validate his scholarship in regards to narration of hadith and Bukhari, Muslim, the Muwatta, and other collections of hadith, is actually asinine. It's actually two-faced. If you ask me, and that's in my humble opinion, which my humble opinion don't mean anything and nothing. However, this is what I see. On one level, you validate his scholarship in relation to narration of hadith, his chain back to the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but you invalidate the fact that he's an authority in. He's an authority in the Maliki method. He was among the scholars of Africa or Balad Sudan. Anyone talking about this Moor stuff and black stuff and building community and try to invalidate African scholarship, that, you know what I'm saying, they're tricksters. They're tricksters. Anyone who try to invalidate other scholars once you or imams or students of knowledge or sheikhs that have their diligent years of learning and commitment and dedication to their scholarship, because they don't agree with you and they don't follow your method, that's narcissistic. Because the dean is not gravitated on just one particular method. You know what I'm saying? It's founded on all of the methods that existed that survived, be there Sunni, Shia, or any other method that survived. Right? I only mention Shia because they have methods that still survive. Whether they are made up or not, they still survive for hundreds and hundreds of years. We're only in the 15th century, right? And then, like I said, it's not to validate the Shia, but I only mentioned them because they do follow methods. They do have methods to their doctrine. It means I'm not here to validate their doctrine. I'm not talking about them at all. I'm talking about the Shehu and how the works of the Shehu have changed the lives of many people. The lives of many people. He wrote hundreds of books, but you have people that have not wrote any books trying to invalidate his tajdeed, invalidate the methodology that he had set, that Allah Ta'ala utilized to guide people throughout the ages. All right. Now, in regards to the Muhammad books of the Maliki school, there's no particular one set curriculum in the Maliki school. You have the Muwatta, you have the Mudawana, and all of the texts and all of the books in the Maliki school stem from them two sources. If you want to go with classical sources, which the Shehu, he memorized the Risala, he memorized Kitab al-Jami, he memorized the Shahr of the Mudawana of Imam Sahanun, that Imam Ibn Abi Zayd Qarawani had defended the Amula Ahlul Medina, right? All of these books that came later, these summarized books that was actually compiled for that particular area, like the Izziya, the Ashimawiyya, the Akthari, the Ibn Ashir. All of these summary books, they're summaries of Muqtasar Khalil, which is a later text that formulated the Maliki Madhab in a later period. The foundational sources came from the earlier scholars that, if you review their works and what they added and the contribution that they added to Islamic knowledge and learning in regards to the establishment of what the Amal Ahlul Medina is, then you will understand that the Maliki Madhab is not just the Maliki Madhab, it's the school of the people of Medina. And each, you know what I'm saying, whether the scholars are from Iraq, Egypt, Medina, Sham, West Africa, Morocco, Andalusia, Sicily, they're all the foundation of the Maliki school is the Amal Ahlul Medina, because the Amal Ahlul Medina is a proof in the Maliki school. The Minhaj of the Shehu and his establishment and founding of Khilafah is based off of the blueprint that was set by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which entails the Amal Ahlul Medina. That's why his position in regards to inculcating every method in the Khilafah was related to the fact that historically there was Sahaba that went to Iraq, went to Shams, went to Egypt, went all over the Muslim world, China, India, and it spread. So his position is that the Khilafah is not just based off of just one method. However, his brother Abdullahi Dan Fodio, he disagreed with him. He disagreed with him, and the Sheikh, who he had compiled a text called Tawfiq توفيق المسلمين حكم المذهبي مجتهدين, where, you know what I'm saying, where he explained that you're not you that when you're following a method, you're not just secluded to that method. You're not just secluded to that method. There's things, you know what I'm saying, that's in that method that, you know what I'm saying, you could take as far as the rulings. And then within that method, you have the rukhsa, dispensation or compromise related to certain rukhsas that you could take that are not found in the method. Then you're allowed to take from another a rukhsa from another method, or the ruling from another method to deal with the situation that you're dealing with at the time. So to say that you're not a Maliki or a Shafi'i or a Hanafi or Hanbali, you know what I'm saying, if you don't know all of the rulings, it's asinine. It's totally asinine. Actually is. And really, you calling people to just your opinion and attacking people that don't hold your same opinion, which your opinion is like everybody else's opinion. Opinion is like an eyeball. Everybody has one. Everybody has an eyeball, whether they can see or they can't. They have an eyeball. So that's what your opinion is. You know what I'm saying? To glorify, if you glorify one method over the other, all you're doing is calling people to the method. You're not calling people to the sunnah. You know, so if you're gonna call people to the sunnah, call people to the sunnah, to the book and the sunnah. If you want them to follow your method, teach your method. Teach your fiqh, right? Teach your fiqh. Don't try to discredit anyone or a great scholar that is well known throughout the world historically to try to invalidate his scholarship, invalidate his works, and say that his works is not from the Maliki method, because they are not these particular books per se that an individual learned from. He was dealing with the people of Hausa, and if you understand anything about Hausa people, you know what I'm saying, that curriculum that you establish with them, because they're very proud people and very stubborn people and very intelligent people, you have to be balanced in your address and your approach with them. You know what I mean? So a person who says that that's not Maliki fiqh, they don't understand the Minhaj of the Shehu, and they don't know what are the Muhammad books in the Maliki school. We're gonna get in, you know what I'm saying, that's a later topic. You know what I'm saying? Because they never read any of the works of the Shehu, any of them, probably unless they're related to certain subjects. You know what I'm saying? So people need to stay in their lane and stop, and stop acting like they are the know-all, say-all, and their authority in our day and time to validate any scholarship that does not agree with the scholarship that they follow, that in their method don't not writing the are not writing the Muhammad books of their method neither. You know what I'm saying? You gotta look at what is in that area, like in Ethiopia. The well-known scholar in Ethiopia that everybody knows. I'm not gonna mention his name. He had a set curriculum that he followed, and his people all over the world that are following his curriculum. Them not the Muhammad books of the method that he followed. Them are his books that he actually wrote for his people. And if you understand the Ethiopian people, the many tribes that are in Ethiopia, you know what I'm saying, you will understand the mentality of them people, and what has to be addressed and what has to be dealt with, and what has to be dealt with. So a person that's talking about, well, we black, we African American, we this or we that or we more, and you invalidate, you try to invalidate the works or the efforts of African scholarship, I don't trust you. I don't trust you as a leader. Sorry, yeah, I got interrupted. So I don't trust you as a teacher. So this is if you want people to stay away from certain groups, stay away from cult mentality. All of that is cult mentality in itself. So I look at leaders who don't have questionable um narratives, that I'm saying, that don't push them to lie. I'm saying, some stuff are just straight out blatant bald faced lies. And because you feeding off the ignorance of the people don't understand or know that they take or know that your opinion holds more importance to you than you actually apologizing and saying that you don't know, and uh, um you don't have the proper research in regards to what is meant by his the Shehu's Tasdeed, his revival. You know what I'm saying? So to say that people are lying, saying that this is Maliki fiqh and it ain't. I can easily say that some of the places that compiled these books of fiqh, they are not the Muhammad books of each method. That's not the fiqh of that method neither. But I will be lying too. I will be untrue in that statement, Why? Because what is needed and solidified to deal with and to deal with in the Maliki school, the Shafi school, the Hanafi school, the Hanbali school, or whatever school that you're practicing in the area that you live, that's conducive to the area that you live, that is absolutely applicable and can be followed and can be practiced dealing with the situation that you are dealing with. On one minute, don't talk about tradition. Then on the next minute, disqualify something that is outside tradition. Actually, tradition, the true methodology of tradition is what you are taking from Quran and Sunnah that applies and deals with the condition of the area that you're in that are associated with the tradition of the book and the Sunnah. Why? Why do I say that? Because every ruling that's applicable to what you have to deal with, it has a traditional foundation and basis. That's why, because the Islam, this deen is a total upright way of life, total way of life. So that's just and that's just my morning address. Like I said, I ain't mentioning nobody. I'm not mentioning no groups. I'm not someone who's an authority as well. You know what I'm saying? But I am an individual that believes that if you're gonna give a narrative, be truthful in your narrative. You know what I'm saying? People can check stuff and check stuff and check stuff that you say, and it could be stuff that can embarrass you, possibly get you hurt by certain people, and it's also something that is supposed that can put you in a light of someone that is reputable to take from. All right, because bullying somebody or pushing somebody or antagonizing somebody, I don't, you know what I'm saying, to some people that don't even get their attention. You know what I'm saying? They disregard you as someone as being childish, being a kid, someone who can't play well with others, got the only child syndrome. You know what I'm saying? Someone who really don't have conflict resolution skills or organizational structure skills, and don't really know what the meaning of leadership is. Never had 500 people under the leadership to where you're responsible for each individual's life, and the decisions that you make could get people killed under your leadership. And that's something that you're gonna have to explain to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Many of us are leaders by default. That's an absolute truth. Many of us are in these positions by default. However, you know what I'm saying, an individual's efforts, you don't downplay an individual's efforts, because they're dealing with the things in their capacity that they're able to, problems that they're able to solve, and protection that they're able to deal with and deliver in their and provide in their capacity. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Anything that I say, please, that is correct, praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for it. Anything that I said that is incorrect, please forgive me. It's from the shaitan, and my intention is not to shame anybody or turn or put anyone down, or to take shots at anyone. You know what I'm saying? My sole intention is to make things clear about the Minhaj of the Shehu and the works of the Shehu in regards to fiqh is from the Maliki school. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.